So this is chapter 3 of the Solid Brotherhood of the East. We're dealing with life and works of Yahshua at the age of 10 years. The great feast of the Jews was on, and Yusuf, Mary, and their son, and many of their kin went to Jerusalem. The child was 10 years old. So line 1, the great feast of the Jews is on. Who was the Jew? Yusuf, Mary, and their son, Yahshua, right? Many kin went to Jerusalem. The child was 10, Yahshua was 10. And Yahshua watched the butchers kill the lambs and birds and burn them on the altar in the name of Allah. His tender heart was shocked at this display of cruelty. Yahshua was shocked at this display of cruelty of killing animals. He asked the servant priest, "What is the purpose of this slaughter of the beasts and the birds? Why do you burn their flesh before Allah?" The priest replied, "This is our sacrifice for sin. Allah was commanded us to do these things and said that in sacrifices, all our sins will be blotted out." And Yahshua said, "Will you be kind enough to tell when Allah proclaimed that sins are blotted out by sacrifices of any kind? Did not David say that Allah requires not sacrifice for sin? That it is sin itself to bring before his face burnt offerings for sin? Did not Isaiah say the same?" The priest replied, "My child, you are beside yourself. Do you know more about the law of Allah than all of Israel? This is no place for boys to show their wit." But Yahshua heeded not his taunts. He went at once to Halil and said to him, "Rabboni, I would like to talk with you. I am disturbed." So before I continue, let's analyze what Yahshua was disturbed about. Burning and killing animals to show that you are paying homage to Allah or something like that. He said, nah, he not with that. That's not what it's about. So he went to talk to the priest, Rabboni, Hillel. Hillel is the priest or the rabbi, Rabboni. Yahshua at 10, man, I need to talk to the rabbi, man. So this ain't right up in here. At 10. I would like to talk with you. I'm disturbed about this service. I thought the temple was the house of Allah, where love and kindness dwell. Do you not hear the bleating of those lambs, the pleading of those doves that men are killing over here? Don't you hear the animals crying? Do you not smell the awful stench of burning flesh? Can you be kind and just and still be filled with cruelty? And Allah takes delight in burning flesh and blood is not Allah of love. He is not my Father. And I want to find the Allah of love. And you, my master, are wise, and surely you can tell me where to find the Allah of love. But Hillel could not give an answer to the child. His heart was stirred with sympathy. He called the child to him. He laid his hand upon his head and wept. He said, "There is an Allah of love, and you shall come with me, and hand in hand we will go forth and find Allah of love." And Yahshua said, why need we go? I thought Allah was everywhere. Can we not purify our hearts and drive out cruelty and every wicked thought and make a temple where Allah love can dwell? The master of the great courts felt as though he was himself a child and that before him stood the master of all the laws. He said within himself, this child is surely a prophet sent of Allah. Then Hillel sought the parents of the child, Yahshua's parents, the priest that Yahshua was talking to, sought out Yahshua's parents and asked that Yahshua might abide with him and learn the precepts of the law and all the lessons of the temple. His parents gave consent, and Yahshua did abide in the temple every day, and every day the master learned from Yahshua. Hillel the rabbi asked permission from Yahshua's parents to learn from a 10-year-old. The master learned from Yahshua many lessons of higher life. And the child remained in the temple of Hillel for a year and then returned to his home in Nazareth. And there he wrought with Yahshua or Yosef, or his father, Joseph or Yosef, as a carpenter. Right? And we know carpenter in so many levels, what a carpenter is, right? So I want to open the floor for discussion before we continue. And you see the next chapter, real juicy, huh? 10 Commandments. Let me scroll. But yeah, let's talk about how everybody feeling about that. You know, what principles stand out? What resonate with y'all?
The whole story kind of reminds me of the Garden of Eden, when Cain and Abel were both trying to decide what kind of sacrifice was the best for the Creator. And Cain decided to go the route that the rabbis are going, killing the flesh and using that as a sacrifice. And Abel decided to toil the land and use the fruits and the vegetables as his sacrifice. So early in the Bible, they were telling you what God they represented because he accepted blood sacrifice. So it's the same principle that Yahshua was finding out whose God they really serve by their practices.
Right. And principle.
Yep.
Principle. Yeah, right. Yeah, man. Anybody else got any thoughts?
One of the things that you said that stuck out to me was this is no place for boys to show wit. And for me, I took that as we really need to pay attention to the youth because sometimes they be telling us stuff. Like they be having messages and stuff for us too, just how we're supposed to guide them, they are supposed to guide us too. And like how everything broke down and it said that every day the rabbi basically learned from Yeshua many higher life lessons. So yeah, that was a key point for me.
Rabbi. When you say rabbi, you saying Jew, right?
Did I say rabbi? I forgot. I don't know what line it is. I think it's number 20. His parents gave consent, and Yeshua did abide in the temple every day. And every day, the master. That's what I meant to say. The master learned from Yeshua many lessons of higher life.
No, you weren't wrong. I'm just saying the master was known as a rabbi, right? Hillel.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So if wouldn't a rabbi be Jewish? I'm just asking.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to put that in the ether. That's all. But anything else stood out for you or anybody else?
Well, every life is all bound together, right? So killing another life form can never be, how you get rid of your sins by killing life, just in general. So to me, it's saying that all life is equal. All life have a purpose, and you can't kill one of them to give, to get rid of your sin. You're probably adding more sins to your life. You know. So I heard something in the Quran where it says something about how Allah feel by even killing an ant. So
Right.
all life is to be respected. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Islam. Yeah. Yeah, man. Anybody else? Oh, and Islam to Jaleesa and Brother Pierre.
Islam.
Wow. All right. If nothing, nobody else has any thoughts about chapter 3 of Silent Brotherhood of the East, the mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood of the East, and the transition to Astral Diagnosis by Max Wendell. Picking up from where we left off, we're in the kidneys, dealing with the kidneys now. Diagnosing why diseases are happening, diagnosing or being aware of our tendencies, things like that on a level of a diagnostic level, clinical level, astroclinical, I guess astro diagnosis, I guess, interchangeable. All right, so we're dealing with the kidneys. We're dealing with a male born March 14th, 1892. The horoscope, which we will use here, is a flat figure. The hour of birth is not known, but in astro diagnosis, it is not necessary that we have the hour of birth unless we are looking for a crisis. We must then take into consideration the exact degree of the progressed moon in its aspects, also the transiting planets. But the natural tendencies as to the temperament and morals, also the organic weaknesses, are shown by the radical planets, which give the astrologer the key to health of the native or the patient at hand. Although, if one has the rising sign to show the will and the strength, it is a help. Certain signs such as Aries, Gemini, Leo, Libra, and Aquarius will overcome and fight off a disease, where most of the feminine signs, especially Taurus and Virgo, have not the willpower to rise above physical conditions. Of the common signs, the sign of Gemini is the best able to control physical ailments. That's heavy. That's interesting. In this horoscope, we will find the sun, the life giver, in the common and negative sign of Pisces. Once again, when you hear common by Max Wendell, just think mutable. If you're not familiar with common, what a common sign is, it means mutable sign. The sun is afflicted by an opposition and parallel to the destructive Saturn. Here we have at the beginning an indication of low vitality. Jupiter, the ruler of Pisces, and having rule over the arterial blood, is in its own sign in conjunction with the sun and in opposition to Saturn. This opposition tends to lower the vitality. For if the bloodstream is stagnant, the entire body must suffer. We find Venus, the planet having rule over the Venus blood, in its own home in Taurus here. This in its own home in Taurus, where this planet is strong. Venus is afflicted by the opposition and parallel of Uranus. This will increase the ill effect of Jupiter, and the sun afflicted by Saturn. With the afflicting influence of Saturn from Virgo, the sign which had a rule over the small intestines, we may expect impaired assimilation of food. We find the moon in opposition and parallel to Jupiter and square to Mars. These aspects, coupled with Venus and Taurus in opposition to Uranus and Scorpio, would indicate that sensual pleasures have ruled this young man and that his health has quickly shattered. Uranus and Scorpio in opposition to Venus indicates indiscretion regarding the sacred generative function. And at the age of 16, when the progress moon had reached the conjunction of Venus and the opposition of Uranus, he contracted the dread disease of syphilis. Although later seemingly cured, yet the powerful compounds such as those of mercury and the various remedies used by medical science to combat this disease left their destructive influence in the blood, and tuberculosis of the kidney set in. Dang. This is shown by the moon in the sign of Libra, ruling the kidney square to Mars in opposition and parallel to Jupiter in the opposition to Mercury. This young man entered the medical profession. Later, he was operated on and had one of his kidneys removed, which was found to be hollow. The doctors diagnosed his condition as tuberculosis of the kidneys. He passed out at the age of 28. When he reached that year, we note that the progress moon had finished its cycle and had again reached its place at birth in Libra. And the progress Jupiter had reached the opposition to the radical and progress moon. The time when the moon has made the circle of the whole horoscope and reached its place at birth is a critical time. And frequently, when the moon is afflicted in the radical figure, this is a time of illness and one in which the native or the patient is faced with many trials. So when the moon goes around the whole horoscope and reaches its place at birth, it is a critical time, and frequently when the moon is afflicted, this is a time of illness. That's interesting right there. We can stop right there, open the floor up and have a conversation about what we've learned thus far. This was an interesting one, man. Kidneys. But yeah, what's everybody's thoughts on this? How y'all feeling about this astro diagnosis piece? Nobody, no thoughts? No thoughts on the astro diagnosis?
Islam.
Islam.
Something that stood out, the fact that the feminine signs, especially Taurus and Virgo, Gemini have the willpower to rise above physical conditions. And Gemini has issues with physical ailments. So it's just another one of those little key things to look out for.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And the willpower too, like in the rising sign, that's always was fascinating. How the your rising sign is a direct correlation to how much willpower or what type of willpower you have. And
Yeah.
'cause that's like real specific data, man. You know?
Yeah. And also, I like that Venus is all over the place, you know, with the veins.
Right,
Spreading love everywhere.
right.
Red blood wrapped in the green tubes, whatever you want to call it. The veins, I mean, veins are, what are they, blue or green, something like that.
Right. Yeah, man. Yes, this astro diagnosis really opened me up on a whole nother level, man. Like just the fact that we was thrown off the scent so long. I'm sitting here thinking, man, like they really promoting giving you milk for calcium. And that's what promote inflammation, which is gonna get you sick.
Yep.
And lo and behold,
It's all a part of the game.
yeah, it's terrible. But
That's why it's so important for us to share personal information with each other. Because I mean, we all had a cold, we all had a flu, and just from being different zodiac signs, me telling me how you handle yours, and you know, far as and vice versa with all of us, then we have, you know, better ideas, and not even only that, just encouragement, more power to fight against it. You know what I mean? That's why we have to share like personal experiences, because that's how you learn what's going on outside of us. Besides, you know what I mean? Besides, if we didn't have this book right here, like how would we figure this out? And it's based on conversations we have with each other. You know what I mean?
right, yeah,
Mhm.
hell yeah, man.
So I thank you all for sharing this, sharing out, showing all your thoughts with us, and you know everything we all been through. You know, because I learned from it. I'm a listener, so I learned from it all.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah, man. Hey, I know you got some more thoughts. What else stood out for you, Phoenix?
You know what? My thought completely left my brain because as soon as I started talking, I got kicked all the way out the chat, and then my phone did some weird stuff and it came back. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get back to you.
That was
And the fire.
Ali Khan Islam.
Islam.
Islam, brother Ali, Islam, brother.
Jerry.
Yeah, man.
What about brother
It's
Fernando?
not on. I just opened it.
Islam.
Wow. Yeah, what's your thoughts, man?
Well, I mean, the health of the body is very much in depth in terms of each one of us being different zodiac signs and being that of the feminine and masculine. You know, half of the human race. It seems to be you know, bountiful in terms of how much depth the knowledge holds for you know how intricate the body is as well in terms of our health.
Yeah, bro. It's like examples, like you see somebody, beat cancer. Let's go somewhere else. Like you see someone jump real high, and you're like, damn, like poof, I didn't think it was possible. But when you see someone do it, right? Even if you were not able to do it, guarantee you'll be able to jump higher. And then the next generation that sees this, common sense will say they will be able to jump higher than we were jumping. That's how life's supposed to be. You know what I mean? But they'll tell you that man can't fly. You can't move a mountain with your mind. That makes you weaker. So it's the same thing with cancer. They tell you you have cancer. What do everybody know about cancer? They just, oh, you're gonna die. So now people are dying at a faster rate because what the last generation thought. They were dying of cancer, but some people lived with cancer this long, 10 years, 5 years. Now people are surviving only a couple of months. So this book is helping us reverse that, where it's remedy for everything. It's remedy for everything, but we need examples. We need someone with experience to really light the torch inside you. And with that, all things are achievable, man. All things, we can accomplish anything.
If you had to compliment that, another poetic way to describe what you're doing is like what you're saying is like the idea of morphic resonance, and that if one person catches the frequency of something, it's easier for everyone else to like comprehend it because they see it's doable.
There you go. Perfect.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I see Mafi, I see my brother Ali, I see, they work out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, rainstorm or whatever, tornado out there. They are, all that. Nah, but
Yeah.
that's motivation though. Like it gets you on track. That's why it's very important that we keep on uplifting each other with this, because then all one unison, we all can do it, because it's a better, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I've been working out for the past year. I normally do, but not consistency, like not with consistency, you know what I mean? So now I see somebody that does it consistently. I'm able to implement that in my life. You know what I mean? And it's just small things like that. Just like how you said it poetically, I'm a passionate person, so I always speak with a lot of emotion. So when I hear someone else speak, it helps me tame that emotion, so yeah, perfectly said, bro.
Wow. Yeah. Man.
Yeah, that is like for me, like I love skating, or I just love education of those that are focused in proper erudition. And when I see other people like raising the bar, it's like I got to step up too. It's like accountability. It's just motivation, makes you dream bigger. So yeah, I thank you all for like raising the bar for vibrations.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Islam Hanuna.
Islam, everybody.
Islam.
It's not, mother.
Yeah, that's back to knowing yourself so we can know how to assist others, knowing yourself and knowing others. And I'm an earth sign, so I'm naturally, I have a grounding type of vibe, and I'm very, calm. So, people that are not calm will be around me, and that be what they need. So, essentially that's what we're not, we didn't verbally say that, but that's what we're saying. We're basically saying, your earth mafia is taming my air or taming my water. I need that. That's going to bring the best version out of me, and vice versa. When I express, like, how I need to tap into a humanitarian space, that's basically essentially saying I need to get my water back, to bring the best out of me. So we're a living testament of cosmology and more science. We can't shake it. It's just now we're getting in tune with it. So now we can twerk it and use it to propel us in how we want to be propelled, because we the magicians, that's where the whole God concept comes from, is, and it's scientific, it's a scientific approach that Moors take on all levels, and if we can consciously control what's on our mind, And we constantly control our vibe and how we come off and our aura. It's a direct correlation. And if we can consciously do that and consciously be around people that bring the best out of ourselves, that's powerful. Humans ain't doing that. That's not the sole objective. That's not on people's mind. People worry about some more other stuff. We on a whole nother wave. So that's why the expression on the top of the pyramid is based on competency, knowing how the world really works, earth culture, tapping into science on all different levels, to promote the best version of every human being that's involved in the temple or society and we continue to get sharper and sharper, man. Like it don't stop. But I want to open the floor because I want to hear somebody else's thoughts. I just get to talking.
So that whole knowing your birth chart, knowing yourself, so that way you know which energies that you work best with is very, very imperative. And I believe the 7th house, that's the house of partnerships. It'll basically like tell you what sign it is that will best help balance you out type shit. So when I got my birth chart read and everything, like that's what I focused on. And I myself am mainly like fire, and I work well with other fire energies. I don't know why. It's just that's how it works. But I know sometimes when you put too much fire, like the shit can get real, real chaotic. But I guess because I know like all of my other elements and shit, like it kind of like balances itself out. But it's very imperative that you know who's going to help you elevate and who the fuck is going to bring you down, because it'll stop your whole process, slow you down, make you have extra fucking lessons that you don't need. So yeah, you got to study your own birth chart and grow from it, actually apply it and use it.
Yeah.
That's facts.
Islam. Islam.
Oh, and then another thing, the 7th house, they say partnership. Whatever sign is in that house, what I've learned, a lot of people automatically assume that that sign is going to be their counterpart or their spouse. That's not necessarily what that means, but you need to be able to read that energy and analyze what exactly is telling you. Like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah, man. Anybody else have any thoughts? In fact, let me turn this recording off while it's on my mind.